Good day everyone. This video is all about background information and strategies or method of teaching solid, liquid, and gas for grade 3. Let's start with the background information. Students have experience observing and classifying matter as solid or liquid based on observable properties such as shape. But this is the first year they are required to describe and classify gases. In this unit, students learn that solids, liquids, and gases have some shared and some unique physical properties that can be used to determine the state of matter of a substance, which is also a physical property of a matter. So students are familiar about the solid and liquid because they are already exposed to that kind of matter, and they encounter solid and liquid in their everyday life. But this is the first time that they will learn the other matter, which is the gas. A student will recognize that solids have definite shapes, while liquids and gases take the shape of their containers. They will also learn that volume is the amount of space matter takes up and that solids and liquids have a definite volume while gases do not. Gases spread out to fill the entire container shapes, while liquids and gases take the shape of their containers. They will also learn that volume is the amount of space matter takes up and that solids and liquids have a definite volume while gases do not. Gases spread out to fill the entire container. This topic will make the student learn and familiarize about the matter, and that matter has a measurable physical properties, and those properties determine how matter is classified, changed, and used. So students are introduced to the tiny particles that make up all matter. They are able to view models of the arrangement of these particles in solid, liquids, and gases to help them see the difference in the arrangement of these particles determine a substance states. So in this grade 3 topic, which is all about matter, the teacher will introduce different models to make the student understand and classify the different matter. This model helps students to explore and visualize what causes a substance to change state when heat energy is either added or removed. So this better prepares students to understand and to be able to predict changes in state. So students should have many opportunities to observe and record changes in the state of matter. This should include freezing, melting, and the change of liquid water to water vapor in steam, and through evaporation caused by heating and cooling, the addition or removal of heat energy. So this is a great opportunity to integrate physical science and earth science as they occur in water cycle. Let's move on to the next slide, which is all about prerequisite knowledge. This is all about what are the things that the grade 3 students must accomplish and learn at the end of the topic, which is all about the state of matter. Prior to this year, students have observed, recorded, and classified matter based on physical properties, including whether the material is a solid or a liquid. Students have observed and explored how materials can be changed by adding or removing heat energy from substances, and are able to predict changes in materials caused by heating and cooling, such as ice melting and water freezing or evaporating. Students are able to demonstrate that things can be done to materials to change their physical properties, such as cutting, folding, sanding, and melting. This is the first year students are required to collect and record data using metric units and to differentiate between observed and measured data. On the other hand, this is also the first year they are required to use tools to measure in metric units such as Celsius thermometers, metric rulers, graduated cylinders, beakers, and pan balances. These are the common misconceptions of a grade 3 student about the state of matter. First, students often think that substances only exist in one state, or that changing a substance's state by melting or freezing makes it a different substance. This is why it is important to show students some examples of changing states, such as ice melting into water and then freezing it again to form ice. Water and ice are made of the same substance, but of course, they are in different states of matter. Another misconception many students have is that all solids have a rigid shape that does not change when moved from one place to another. It is important for students to understand that some solids are more flexible than others, and it is possible for them to flex, but the shape that they have is still retained. Another common misconception was that some students will have a problem comprehending conservation of mass, meaning that the total mass of matter does not change when matter undergoes a physical change. So for example, when you chop up a solid into smaller pieces, its total mass does not actually change. Or when water freezes to form ice, the total mass remains the same. So students will need many opportunities. They need many opportunities to explore this using some models or some usable things such as pan balances in order to comprehend it. Lastly, students may also have problems understanding that the volume of a liquid does not change when it is poured from one container to another.
Did you know that everything in this world, including you and me, is matter? In fact, everything on planet, any life form, organism, or inert object is an example of matter. A human being, an animal, a plant, a backpack, in short, everything. So, what is matter?
Matter is anything that occupies space and has mass, meaning it has volume and weight. Volume means the amount of space that matter takes up, while the mass or weight is the amount of matter an object has. For example, you have one big red ball and one small blue ball. Both balls are made of matters. They both take up space and have mass. But since the red ball is bigger, that means that it has more mass than the smaller ball. It also takes up more space than the red one. In comparison, the blue ball is smaller, meaning it has less mass and takes up less space. Furthermore, matter is made up of tiny particles called atoms, or those smallest particle of an element that can exist either alone or in combination. If everything is matter, you might be wondering why then they look different from each other. Well, everything found on Earth has specific properties and exists into one of the three states of matter, namely solid, liquid, and gas. In order to figure out which state of matter an object fits in, we have to examine its properties. The properties we looked at are shape, mass, and volume. So let's jump into the first state of matter, which is solid. Solid are easy to recognize. They have definite shape, mass, and volume because it is composed of tiny packed particles, meaning its particles or molecules are very close together so it does not lose its shape. Thus, the shape of a solid is independent on its container. For example, rocks are solid as they have a rigid shape that isn't easily changed. Another is ball. A ball have color, certain size and shape, and when we touch them, they have different textures and have varying hardness. If we look around our house, we can see, touch, and hold a lot of solids. We can touch the walls, televisions, tables, and even the food we eat. So another characteristic of solid is we can touch and hold it. Basically, because solid have definite shape, just like our pillow. It is soft, yes, but still, we can touch and hold it. So, as long as the matter have the characteristics of this state, then it should be considered as a solid object. The next one is liquid. Liquids do not have definite shape as it flows and takes the shape of the container into which it is poured. However, it does have a definite mass and volume. For example, when you pour 5 ml of water into a cup, it will take up the cup's inner shape, and even you pour it into the bowl, still it will take up the shape of the container and maintain its constant volume. In this state, the particles move more quickly than those in solid as it made up of more loosely packed particles that volume is maintained. Another thing to easily classify liquids is that it's characteristic to flow that can definitely change its shape. So, water is the common example for this. Imagine the scenario if you have ever spilled a glass of water, then you know it spreads out across the floor. It does this because the water is taking up the shape of the floor. Since liquids do not have a definite shape of their own, they will take the shape of their containers. This is why the same amount of water can look different in a tall glass, a wide mug, or spread out on our kitchen floor. Furthermore, fresh milk, coffee, juice, or even slime is also a liquid object. And the last state of matter is gas. Gas does not have a definite shape or volume because it takes up all of the space in a container and composed of particles that are packed so loosely that spreads out on it. And this allows them to move around freely. But if a gas is not in a container, it will spread out indefinitely. This is because the atoms or molecules in a gas are spaced further apart than in a solid or liquid. Think about the air we breathe every day. The air is spread across the empty space around the earth. And you have probably also noticed that we cannot usually see the air. This is another property of gases. Even though we cannot see them, we come in contact with them every day. There's an air in the tires of our bicycles, or even in your family car. And the steam coming out from the spout of a kettle is also a gas. Another is helium, which is put inside birthday party balloons. In the Earth's atmosphere, there are many different types of gas, such as carbon dioxide, nitrogen, water vapor, and oxygen. In the given examples I have mentioned, we can classify that they do not have color, taste, texture, and own shape. Also, they cannot be touched or held. And this is also another characteristics of a gas. Matter can change states. Solids can become liquids and liquids can change to solids. Liquids can become gases and gases can become liquids. But how do all these things happen? It is because of heat. Either heat is added or removed from matter to cause state changes. Think about a little experiment where an ice cube is being placed in a covered glass or container. We will be able to observe the ice first in its solid form and then watch as it melts into a liquid to become water. Eventually, the water will turn to water vapor and the glass or container will be filled with this gas. To conclude, matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. All matter is made up of tiny particles called atoms, and the three basic states of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. They can be distinguished based on their bulk properties, whereas solid is a state in which matter maintains a fixed volume and shape. Liquid is the state which matter adapts to the shape of its container but varies slightly in volume, and gas is the state in which matter expands to occupy the volume and shape of its container. They can change states through the presence of heat. Either heat is added or removed from matter to cause state changes, or, in short, they can undergo the process of melting, boiling, freezing, or condensation, so that it will definitely shows how a solid becomes liquid, or liquid will become gas and gas turns into liquid, or vice versa.
These are the following strategies and methods of teaching solid, liquid, and gas in grade 3 students. First is hands-on learning. This is the basic best teaching method that involves the active participation of students to experience scientific concept than just an audience view. Schools are promoting the use of low-cost apparatus in classroom to help students to have a hands-on learning experience. So in this strategy, the teacher have to take advantage of some apparatus in the classroom or school that are usable in teaching the states of matter, because it will enable the learners to understand well the lesson because they can see it. Example is asking for an ice to a canteen and then showing it to the student how it changes from solid to liquid. Another, we have the science games for kids. Introducing science to them with interesting games as they can learn more about science and technology with fun. So a wide range of games that are available online can be utilized as a guide to teach new concept of illustrates scientific experiment. For some games have multiple levels and passing each level can bring learning to each child. So it should always be connected to the topic, like showcasing the concept of matter and its three states. So this is one of the best strategy in teaching matter because it will surely make the student enjoy the lesson and at the same time they are learning. So example of games about matter is a beat a clock game. So the student will give their ideas about the state of matter before the time limit is up. The more idea, the more the score that you can get. Number 3, we have the visual clues. So it can easily supplement auditory informations and students can easily connect better with ideas. So the multisensory experiences improve their understanding and memorization. So this includes drawing, diagrams, and pictures to assist theory and setting up example to show its application side. So the sequence of lab procedures can be better taught using pictures towards approach. So in visual clues, the teacher can print a diagrams and pictures about solid, liquid, and gas, and then pasting it in front of the class and explaining it with words. So in that manner, the students can visualize the differences about the three matters. We have the fourth, the science text cards. So this is an innovative teaching method to convey the science facts in easy and organized way. So statements related to science concept are written on index cards. Students can work individually, pairs, or in groups to sort the cards based on the given format. So some example of science text cards are true or false, agree or disagree, the matching pairs, classification, sequences, and many more. In this method, the teacher can give let's say a sentence about the state of a matter, and then he or she will call for a student to classify whether that sentence is a true or false. We have the fifth, we have the graphic organizer. So graphic organizer is helpful for students to interact with science in a more organized and structured way. So teacher can use different types of templates to represent the data according to the topic that is being handled. It contains a central points for which different branches are formed, and there may be sub-branches in certain cases. So from the word itself, organizer. So this could be very helpful to have a smooth and organized teaching and learning the state of matter. We have the sixth, the video clips. So it make use of instructional video clips available online or in libraries to show that and teach a new concept. The evolution of a process can be conveyed better with animation videos. It can also be videos of demonstration of an idea or an application side of a theory or an interview with a scientist, tutorial by a subject expert, and more. Showing some animated video clips about the solid, liquid, and gas can be a big help to make the student understand more the topic. We have the multimedia approach. So this method is a blend of text, audio, animation, video, still images, or interactive content form to teach diverse, difficult to understand concept in science. So the educator can convey vast information using advanced media, devices, and techniques, and involve a wide range of activities to provide a meaningful learning experience. So compared to video clips, this multimedia approach is the combination of text, audio, animation, video, and any forms of interactive contents and showing it to a student. We have the context-based approach. So the context can be understood in detail by exploring the world around. So this gradually helps the learners to interpret new information from the context and relate to what they already know. So students are given the opportunity to create context and explore ideas from them. So they interact with surroundings, hold conversation with subject experts, make relevant notes, and attempt to modify the nearby objects. So this approach is very usable in adding up information to students' knowledge about the topic, which is the matter, because it enables them to create their own context about solid, liquid, and gas by exploring their own capabilities and knowledge. We have the ninth, activities and project. It involves choosing the idea, executing the plan, and finally evaluating it. Students can improve their skills to express ideas, problem solving, overcoming the challenges, teamwork, and self-assessment. It helps the students to showcase the application side of what they have learned through theory. So activities and project can be a test to a student to know their understanding about the matter. So I remember when I was a grade 3 student, so our teacher gave us an activity about this matter. So she brought an ice cube and then she showed to us how the ice cube turned into solid, and then she let us write a paragraph about what we saw and try to share it. We have the 10th, the science songs. So this could be one of the best strategy of teaching solid, liquid, and gas, because the students will surely find this strategy very fun and enjoyable. So let us watch an example video about a science song all about matter.
Alright everybody, are you ready for the 3 states of matter song? Here we go. Solid, liquid, and gas. The 3 states of matter, they all have mass. Solid, liquid, and gas, they all have mass. Oh yeah. A solid is firm, a solid is hard, just like the rocks in your backyard. A liquid is wobbly, a liquid is loose, just like water or milk or juice. A gas is the trickiest one to me, because a gas is something that you cannot see. The helium gas in your balloon makes it float all around the room. Come on! Solid, liquid, and gas. The 3 states of matter, they all have mass. Solid, liquid, and gas, they all have mass. One more time, you guys, come on! Solid, liquid, and gas. The 3 states of matter, they all have mass. Solid, liquid, and gas, they all have mass. Alright.
See? Songs are very helpful to have a fun yet informative teaching learning matter. We have the word games. So an example of this is a puzzle game in which the student have to arrange the words based from the given information and description. And lastly, we have the ICT-enabled learning and PowerPoints. We are in a modern technological society where gadgets, internet, computers, social medias, and applications are scattered everywhere. And so, we have to take advantage of it in teaching matter.